best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Well, we're getting closer to the Seattle game, and really there's no prognosis on Daniel Jones yet. And it is Thursday, so we're getting closer. We're inching closer and closer. This may be a game time decision. Also, could be a little gamesmanship with Joe Judge keeping Pete Carroll guessing. But honestly, it is just one of those situations that you just don't know about. Daniel Jones is saying he's feeling good, he's feeling better, he's taking it day by day. He evidently did some throwing yesterday on Wednesday with the coaching staff and the trainers in view, and trying to see how he can move, how he can what he does. They said he moved around a little bit and he threw a little bit. What that means we don't know, because like I said, we're not privy to all the inside information. But like I said, what that means, who knows? He's got to stay prepared mentally, just in case physically he can't play. But honestly, it's just one of those situations that we may not know until Sunday right before kickoff. It should also be noted that Joe Webb and Alex Tanney have been added to the COVID protocol. So both of those guys will probably be on the practice squad. I find it interesting. Joe Webb, to me, is interesting because of the fact that he can play special teams and wide receivers. So he could be a jack of all trade. He could be a Cordell/Stewart. Yeah, I'm going old school. I'm going old school on that one, guys. Only because I was watching the Pittsburgh game. What the hell happened to RG3, man? Can we talk about that for 15 seconds? What the hell happened to his career? He looks god-awful. And I know he's blaming it on COVID and everything else, but we've seen him play before. He never looked good. He never looked good either way. What the hell happened to that career? But let's get back into Daniel Jones. The big question is going to be, and every coach will tell you this, and as a former player as myself, never at the professional level, but in the college level, I will tell you never listen to the player. Because the player's going to lie to you. If the player truly wants to play, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to say everything's hunky-dory, fine, and dandy, let me go out there. So I think Joe Judge is smart enough to see through that type of facade if Daniel Jones is not prepared for Seattle. And then the other question is, why are we putting all of our eggs in the Seattle basket? This to me was, I never say a game is a throwaway game, but with our schedule, and now we have to subtract the Baltimore game because Baltimore's just a mess. This was the game, in my mind, was probably the one we weren't going to win. No matter if the stars aligned, we weren't going to win. In the last 5 games against Seattle, we're 1-4. We lost 24-17, 38-17, 23-0, 36-25. Now, interesting enough, the 2 of those games were in Seattle, and the one that we won was back in 2010, where we beat them 41-7, but that was a long time. It's 10 years ago. 2010. Wow. When did I get old? I don't remember being old. Evidently, I got old quick. Or maybe it was slow, and I just don't remember because I'm old. But we have not had a wonderful track record in Seattle the last 4 times we've been there. Or I should say the last 2 times we've been there. Well, 1 time. I should rephrase that. We have not had a wonderful track record against Seattle just in general, no matter where the game was played. So us flying across country to play Russell Wilson, to me, was never really going to – I never marked that down as a win. And if we truly feel and we truly believe that we have an opportunity to make the playoffs, we have some winnable games now. Arizona's kind of a little bit of a kind of queasy right now. And like I mentioned before, that the game against Baltimore is interesting because of everything that's going on with Baltimore at the moment. And I already had the Cowboy game penciled in. And then you have the Cleveland game. Cleveland game, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what Baker Mayfield or what Cleveland Brown team you're going to get. So right now, the game to me that is probably the least winnable is this game. You can tell me all you want. They have the 26th ranked defense and they have the 28th ranked defense against this and that. And Pro Football Focus says that these players are blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear that. Don't want to hear it. They have good individual talent. Now, sometimes individual talent does not gel at once, but they have good individual talent on that team. I've watched Jamal Adams play quite a bit, when he was over here with the New York Jets. The way he's been playing right now has kind of been lights out these last couple of weeks. It took him a little time to meld into the Seattle situation, but he's been playing extremely well. I'm not going to get back into the Seattle team because we did that the other day. But I really just want to, like I said, I just, from an individual standpoint, if you are going to take Daniel Jones and the New York Giants across country to play the Seattle Seahawks, that flight alone would be interesting on Daniel Jones's leg. On his hamstring. Because if anyone has had a pulled hamstring, if you sit too long in one spot or you don't move or you don't keep fluid motion, it hurts. It hurts sometimes. You could feel the pull. And the worst thing about a hamstring is, and I don't know if Daniel Jones has ever had a hamstring pull, you think you're fine. At one point in time, you may think, I feel good. I'm moving well. I'm feeling good. But then you turn and move the wrong direction, you re-injure it. And there is a potential to injure the leg more. You don't want to tear a hamstring. I've never torn a hamstring. I pulled a hamstring, never tore one. But you don't want to tear a hamstring because that is going to be a long, arduous process to come back from. And if you really think that Daniel Jones is your winning ticket to making the playoffs in this warped season, you got to sit him down. Because of the fact that, like I said, you have a chance against the Browns. We now have an opportunity, I think, against the Ravens. We now, the way that Arizona is playing, we could, where our defense is, the way the Giants' defense is right now, we could have a potential opportunity against them as well. And then you throw the Dallas game in. So to me, those are 4 winnable games now. And, I think just a few weeks ago, that would have been an astronomical statement to say, because to me, this was always the worst part of the schedule for the Giants. It had to be, because these were killer games. But now those killer games are kind of going down a little bit. I laugh because, and I don't laugh because it's not funny, but a subscriber said, and you know who you are, you said the only way we're going to beat Baltimore is everyone comes down with COVID. Well, they're averaging a positive test a day. So, that's nothing to joke about, but potentially, like I said, that could be helpful to the Giants' playoff situation if they're shorthanded and they play the games, or if the NFL suspends those games or postpones them to another day and time. So you have now 4 winnable games on your schedule. I mean, what do you do now? Do you try to finish 8-8? Or do you put all your chips? Are you pulling a Jim Fossil and taking all your chips and pushing them toward the middle of the table? And then you're going to hope that Daniel Jones's hamstring holds out. So that's what Joe Judge has to think about right now. If he potentially plays Daniel Jones and he does more damage to the hamstring, instead of only being out 1 week, he could be out the entire season. Are we going to be Riverboat Ron? And we know how well Riverboat Ron played out that game going for that 2-point conversion against the Giants. And I'm glad he did, because Washington would be in a much better situation against us if they won that game. It would be a whole different ball game. But we have, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, and people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. We have our destiny in front of us. If we win, we're in. So, but we need to win at least 2 to 3 games. And I know any given Sunday, anything can happen in the NFL. But I'm telling you right now, this game, I'm not saying it's not winnable with Daniel Jones, but I wouldn't go close to penciling it in. In my mind, if you think DJ is your savior, I would sit him down. Colt McCoy is a professional. This is his 11th season. He's been a starter. He's played well at times. He knows the NFL. He's a professional. He's a professional backup quarterback. Alex Tanney's a professional backup quarterback in a different way because he never played. Colt McCoy has played the game, and he understands the speed of the game, and he knows what needs to be done. Does Daniel Jones give you a better opportunity to win? Yes. But for one game, I'd rather have Colt McCoy and have Daniel Jones for the last 4 games. And I think that's what we need to think about as an that's what we need to think about as an organization entirely. So again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that belly thing, you know what it means, that'd be awesome.